Welcome to this free stock market course for beginners. This is the fall 2021 version that's available to you. What I'll be doing in this video is just introducing myself and introducing the course. I'll also give you an overview of what will be covered in the course, as well as some basic concepts for my suggestions on how you should use this course, what resources are available to you, how you can contact me, how you can leave comments or give feedback about the course. This is being brought to you by Intrepid Educational Services. That's the name of the company. The program that is taught is called the SPX Investing Program. However, this course just deals with basic concepts, an overview of the stock market. We do talk about some different markets, but most of the focus is on the stock market. My name is John Clay. I'm the founder of Intrepid Educational Services, as well as the creator of all of the courses that you will take, and I'm also your instructor. To give you a little information about myself, and I will be your instructor from the beginning to the end of this course, I am a licensed, certified, and experienced educator, trainer, and instructor, and I've been doing this for longer than I like to admit, but about 35 years or longer. I also have over 25 years of experience as an individual investor and many years of experience teaching the courses, just like the course that you are starting to take right now. I can be reached by email at john@spxinvesting.com. Also, if you want to talk more face-to-face, I am available on Messenger, Skype, or Zoom. Just shoot me off an email and we can try to set up a time where we can talk more one-on-one. The first thing to ask is this course for you? This is designed and even labeled as a course for beginners, but don't let that fool you. If you've been investing for a long time, I thoroughly believe that you can get a lot out of this course. If you don't know anything about the stock market and this is brand new to you, I think it will also be a very powerful course for you. Doesn't matter your age, you can be young or old, or what season of life you're in. Are you young and single? Are you getting near retirement age? Are you in retirement right now and you're just looking for more information? Do you have a family? Do you have a business? Are you in the middle of your career? At any stage of your life, this course will have value for you. The course is designed for those who want to take investing and trading to a new level. Now, what do I mean by investing and trading? Typically, if you're the kind of market participant who holds on to things for less than 1 year, that is trading. If you hold on to things longer than 1 year, that is investing. And I can help you no matter what style you like to use. If you're an absolute beginner, this is a really good place to start. If you've been doing this for a long time, I hope to add to your knowledge level already and help you even become better at understanding the stock market and being a more successful investor or trader. And those who want to think of things in new or different ways. A lot of what I'm going to show you throughout this course and in other classes that I have, you may not be familiar with these things. There are opportunities that are available to you that you may not even know about or that you're learning for the first time. I expose you to those things and you might want to consider using that as part of your overall strategy. Another thing is we tend to get locked into how we think about investing or trading. I want to challenge you in those areas and possibly to think in different ways than how you do things now. You may end up going back to what you're already doing, and that's fine, but at least exposing you to some different areas will help you have more conviction about what you're doing or possibly even introduce you to things that you didn't know you could do. Also, this course is for those who want to take advantage of opportunities currently unknown or uncertain, and I kind of just addressed that. Did you know that you can take advantage of things when the market declines? Not everybody knows that. If you have a portfolio, did you know that you can put insurance on that portfolio to either limit, if not eliminate, any losses that you might see if the market really turns and goes down? Some of you are not aware that there's the possibility to make income from the market. This can happen on a quarterly basis, monthly, and even weekly basis. You may not end up using some of those different strategies, but I just want to expose you to some of them. What are the goals of this course? to provide a basic understanding of the stock market and the financial markets. Yes, the main focus is the stock market itself, and think of that as the hub of everything that we're trying to do. But in order to understand the stock market, we need to look at other markets sometimes too. We can get clues of what's happening throughout all of the financial markets to help us understand better what's happening in the stock market. Another thing that I'll do throughout this course is make a case for building an investment program using the S&P 500 or the SPX. That's where I get the name of this program, the SPX Investing Program. Now, one of the things that you're going to ask yourself right away is, well, I want to invest in individual stocks. That's fine. Or I just like the idea of index investing. That's fine. I just want to take advantage of things when the market goes up. That's fine. I invest in mutual funds. That's fine. I can help you in all of those different ways by what you are going to learn in this class. What is presented in this course is a very good, solid foundation to help you no matter what other areas you go off into for your investing or trading. I also share some thoughts about some of the newer markets and some of the markets that seem to be really popular or the fad right now, such as cryptocurrencies and Forex. I have sections where I talk about each one of those markets, although I don't teach directly about those things. I do give you my insight and opinions about what I think of those markets. Another goal is to provide basic strategies that you can use right now. I don't want to just fill you with lots of theory. I want to be able to give you something that you can put into practice immediately, as well as giving you some basic tools that you have access to. And a lot of times these are for free, or you may have access to them through your brokerage account, and different information sources that are largely for free that you can use right now to help you make decisions. So how is the course structured? It is available on YouTube. I've set up a playlist with all the different videos that we follow throughout this course in order. Course notes are available for free. You'll notice that I'm using PowerPoint right now as I record this. What I also do is I make PDFs available of all the different course notes. Those are available to you for free. I have a link that you can use to download those. Some people would like to follow those on a computer. Others may want to print these out and take additional notes as you go through the course. This course is designed to be rolled out starting September 21st, 2021. As I record this is before September 21st. If you're watching this in October, November, December, well, most of the course is probably rolled out by then. My plan is to roll out a section each day until the entire course has been uploaded. Another thing that you'll notice is you don't see me in these videos. I do them voice only. That's because I can record these, edit them, and upload them a lot quicker by doing voice only videos. I also don't add a lot of extra video and fluff, or what we call B-roll, to try to make it more entertaining. Yes, it's nice to entertain people, but the bottom line for me is I want to teach you. One thing that you may find useful in this course is to treat it like a podcast. Since it's voice only and you can download the notes, and you'll also be able to download all of the graphics and charts that I will show you, you can listen to this without actually having to watch the video itself. A little bit about my lecture style. Yes, I use PPT or PowerPoint. That's what I'm using right now. And I've been doing that for a long time. I used to teach Microsoft certification courses, and I would lecture 5, 6, 7 hours at a time. I got to the point where everything I wanted to say was on a PowerPoint slide. That worked really well for me, and I could talk for a long time without needing notes. I could talk off the top of my head and go off in different directions. And so I've just decided to take that same concept that worked before and apply it to these classes. You'll notice that even though I put words up on the screen, I'm not just reading PowerPoint slides to you. I'm using them just as a basis for what I'm talking about, so that then I have added commentary. And I may shoot off and tell a little story. I may give you more examples. I go back and forth, but the basis of everything I'm doing is right on the slide that you see. So what I'm looking at is the same thing that you are looking at as you watch this video. Every time I record this course, it's a little bit different. I try to use current examples. I update the slides. I talk a little bit about what is actually happening in the world right now to make it as relevant as possible. I don't just record this once and then just let it sit for 10 years. Another thing that you'll also notice is if you've watched any of the videos on my YouTube channel, I'm covering a lot of the same topics, but it's not the same recording. I decided to go back and change this into more of a course format rather than just sticking a bunch of YouTube videos together and calling it a class that way. I wanted to give you the best of what I have to offer. At the time I record this in the fall of 2021, the stock market is at or near all-time highs, but as always, there are concerns on the horizon. You have people that look into the future and see wonderful things. They think things have been going up and they're just going to continue to go up. You have other people that really don't see a lot of positive things in the future and that we're getting near a point where it's all going to change and start going down. We don't really know what will happen, but what we can do is be prepared no matter what does happen. In the fall of 2021, inflation is becoming a concern. And if you think about it, that makes a lot of sense. During the whole COVID lockdown and the pandemic that we've been enduring, there have been massive stimulus programs. There's massive spending that is being increased by the government. There is monetary policy. There is a massive flood of liquidity being sent into the U.S. economy. If you keep doing those things for a long enough period of time, eventually inflation is going to be a concern. And so we are watching that very closely. The U.S. and the world continue to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic. We thought things were more under control, but now we have this old Delta variant that's flowing around. Some places are still heavily locked down throughout the world, where other places are going back to a more normal lifestyle, if that's even possible again. But still, we don't know what is looming in the future or what might happen to shift things back into more of a lockdown situation, if that will even happen. There's also massive cultural, economic, and governmental changes that are happening. Now, I don't discuss politics in the courses that I teach. One of my degrees is in political science, and I do teach political science courses, but I am focused on the stock market. It doesn't matter if you're right-wing, left-wing, liberal, Democrat, Republican, anarchist, communist. It really doesn't matter as far as the stock market is concerned, and we don't discuss those things here. But what we do is keep an eye on what is happening because that can influence the market. You may totally disagree with what's happening, and that's fine, but it's irrelevant for the stock market. What we need to do is just say, how is that going to impact prices? Are these new programs, are these new laws, are these new regulations going to help the market go higher or lower? That's really what we focus on. We leave our personal opinions at the door. I do that in my courses, and I also expect that from people that participate in this course. If you want to have a personal political discussion with me, set up a time. We can talk about things. It's not going to come through in this course or in any of the courses that I teach. We just take it for what it is. Also, as I record this in the fall of 2021, we're coming into a season that can be a bad time for the stock market. If you look throughout history, 1929, 1987, a lot of the real difficult times that we've had in the market have come in October. Is that going to happen this time? I don't know. There are things that we can watch that tell us, okay, that might happen. There's other things that we can look at that say, no, it doesn't really look like that will happen. But historically, this has been a difficult time of year, and that's why I decided to roll out this course now, because most investors are geared for the market to go up. If everything starts to turn and go down, people are going to see a lot of losses, and people are going to see things that they've spent their whole life trying to build suddenly evaporate and go away. Well, there are things that you can implement to protect you from that, or to shift things around in your portfolio or in your trading strategy where you can protect yourself or take advantage of that type of an environment. So what are some suggestions that I would recommend for this particular course? Watch it in order. I put the playlist on YouTube and just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and just follow them one right after the other. The course is designed sequentially, whereas the other videos that I have on my channel, they're not in necessarily an order. This is structured in such a way so that you should watch it in the proper order, and you can skip around if you would like to. Also, you can repeat these courses as needed. That's one of the really nice things about doing online courses. If you want to watch something and you didn't quite understand it, or you want to have an explanation again, you can just go back and rewatch the video. That's the really cool part about this. One of the things that you're going to have to do in order to get the most out of this course is dedicate yourself to completing the course. Now, it's like a lot of things in life. We start out all rah-rah and we're all dedicated and we're totally sure that we're going to start this course and we're going to follow it all the way through to the end. Well, then life happens. We get busy, we get distracted, things come up, we might get sick, we might get really busy at work, the weather might change, football season is starting, all kinds of different reasons. And suddenly, what you started off doing and were really focused on, that gets forgotten over a period of time. As best you can, try to dedicate yourself and set aside time to complete this course from beginning to end. If you do have to take some time off, the course will be right here again when you're ready to pick up and go. But the only way you're going to get something out of this is by dedicating yourself to watching the complete course. It is self-paced. Some of you may just watch 1 or 2 videos every day. Others may try to marathon through this thing from beginning to end. You know what's best for you, so you can tailor this to your particular style. You might be listening to this as you commute to and from work. Please feel free to submit any questions. You may not really understand something after I get done explaining it, or you may want some further examples or another way of trying to explain this to you. If you do have comments, please feel free to leave those below each video. If you want to contact me directly, I provide my email address. What I'm really focused on more, believe it or not, are more negative comments. Now, if you like the course, that's great. And positive reinforcement is always welcomed to say, oh, this is good. I really like this. What I'm mostly interested in are things that you don't like, because that's how I can change the course, make improvements, and hopefully make it even better. There are optional assessments that are available. At the end of each section and at each module, I do have some different questions that you can go over. They're not required. You don't have to do them. They're there as a tool that you can use. One time I made the mistake, apparently, of announcing that there would be an assessment at the end of each section. And a few people that were taking the class just freaked out because they have massive test anxiety and just stopped taking the course. Well, from that point on, I make them optional. You might just look at these assessments and read through them. You may want to actually read them and try to answer the questions. And they're not tricky. If you watch the video, I take all of the questions exactly from the video. It really just proves that you watched the video. I'm not going off in some strange direction to try to get you to answer things that you don't really understand. It's just, are you getting the information that is being presented? There are other videos that I post that go outside the realm of this course. Now, I do talk about the stock market, but they go outside of what I will be covering in this particular course. So please feel free to watch some of those other videos, look at some of the other playlists that I have on the channel, and see if that is also interesting to you. I'm constantly posting videos. Some of them have to do more with what's actually happening. Others have to do more with concepts and different concepts that I don't cover in this course. I also have a blog. It's spxinvestingblog.com. When I initially started the blog, I tried to have a goal of posting 3 articles a week. Well, I haven't posted now in a couple of months because I've been so wrapped up in doing videos. It takes me a long time to write those articles. They pretty much mimic all the different topics that I cover in the videos, but some people like to have that in written form. I also do an audio recording of each article, not using a computer voice. I actually do it using my own voice. One of the things that I also do is I teach English as a second language, and some of my students go and read the articles and listen to my voice, and that helps them with pronunciation. So I try to be really clear when I record those articles. There's also a public Facebook group that you can join, and I provide a link to that in the description below. And I also have a workshop. There's a link for this as well. There's about a 90-minute workshop where I don't just talk about the stock market. I talk about sports. I talk about relationships. I talk about your professional life. I talk about music. And I kind of bring that all around to hopefully help you think in different ways that will help you in the stock market. People that have really watched that have found that to be a very good workshop. You actually see me on that video. I set up a camera and I'm actually sitting in front of it, looking into the camera as I record, where these are just voice only videos. Then I can be followed on social media. I have an account on Facebook, which is probably what I use the most. I do have a Twitter account, but I really don't make much use of that. But if you're a big Twitter user, I'll start using that more. I also have an account on Rumble, which is kind of an alternative to YouTube. And I do have an Instagram account, which is kind of like my Twitter account. I don't use it all that much, but if you are an Instagram user, I will start using it more and more. If you would like to set up a time to meet more face-to-face, as I talked about earlier, contact me and we can try to set up a time if you use Skype, Zoom, or Messenger. Those are pretty much the 3 video platforms that I use right now. And I'd be more than happy to do that. There's no time limit on this. We're just 2 people setting up some time to talk to each other. You get to learn a little bit more about me, and I get to learn a little bit more about you. And then we'll try to come up with a plan how I can help you more than just by posting these courses for you to watch. My email again is john@spxinvesting.com. I do have a website. There is spxinvesting.com. I'm rebuilding that right now as I record this. I do have additional courses that I teach beyond this course, but I'm in the middle of rebuilding that, revamping that. And if you try to go to spxinvesting.com, it'll just say, not here right now. That should be rolled out soon, probably about the beginning of 2022 is the goal right now. So let's go through the entire course and see what in the world are we going to talk about here. The length is over 20 hours. Yeah, how do you like that for a free course? I've taught this course over and over and over. One of the drawbacks to this specific video right now is I'm recording it at the beginning of the course. Usually what I do is I record the entire course, I go back and look at it, and then I do the introduction last. Well, because I want to post this on a particular day, I'm recording this first, but it looks like by the time I get done with all of this, the course will be about 20 hours long. It is broken down into different modules, and the first module is pretty short. I just go through some basic concepts. I go through what I'll be talking about in the rest of the course. In module 2, that's when we really get into what will be covered. We talk about stocks and stock indexes. Now, I do have a section on bonds. I talk about mutual funds. I talk about ETFs, but the generic title for that is stock and stock indexes. Module 3, I go through what does it mean to understand the stock market. And that's a pretty lengthy module. I go into a lot of different areas there. Module 4, I go through developing a strategy and all the different things that we can use to help us make decisions. And then in module 5, we have to analyze the market. We have to analyze the environment. We have to analyze what we're doing so that we can make good decisions. So just to break it down a little bit more, module 1, I just go through some general definitions. I provide an overview of the information, concepts, and strategies that will be taught. It's kind of like what I'm doing right now. The course structure is that there are 5 modules, and then each module is divided into sections. And as I record this, I currently have 41 sections, including this one. And the average length of each module is about 28 minutes. Some will be a little longer than that. Some will be shorter than that. But the average is anywhere from 28 to 30 minutes. I want to make them manageable chunks that you can use where they're not so long that you're bogging down everything. I get a lot of people that want to watch a video that I posted that's 2 hours long, and they will say, yeah, well, I got about a third of the way through it or halfway through it, and then they never go back and watch the rest of it. And so what I try to do is break things down into a more manageable size so that you can go through maybe a section in the morning and a section in the evening and another section during your lunch hour, if that's the way you want to do things. Then in Module 2, this is where I go through, again, some basic concepts. I talk about stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, indexes, the S&P 500 itself, and then I talk about a thing called market cap or market capitalization. In Module 3, I go through understanding the stock market, where I'll talk about long and short. Long is where you want to buy low and sell high. Short is where you sell high and buy low, and that confuses a lot of people if it's new to you, and I go through and give some examples about that. I talk about using margin, which is the ability to use borrowed money to hopefully enhance your returns, but it also enhances your risk. I talk about the importance of liquidity, the ability to get in and get out quickly. Then I go through and talk about the bid-ask price and the bid-ask spread. I'll give some thoughts, which are just opinions of mine, on a thing called penny stocks. These are stocks that are valued under $1. Then I'll talk about cryptocurrencies and provide you with my own thoughts and commentary about that. Then I'll talk about Forex, or the foreign exchange market. I talk about hedge funds, which is probably something that anybody watching this video would not necessarily be involved in, but we still should have a good understanding of what they are because they do have a lot of influence on the stock market. I talk about blue chip stocks, or the stocks that are considered to be the most valuable, the cream of the crop stocks. Then I'll talk about some different government agencies, the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission. Then the big one is the Fed. And then these are not real interesting sections that I go through, but it's useful to know these things. I talk about the Department of Treasury and finally the Department of Commerce. We don't deal with them directly and they're not really exciting, but it's good to have a little bit of knowledge about these different government agencies. Then in Module 4, I go through what does it mean to develop a strategy. I'll talk about risk. Then I'll go through different definitions of time. And I use two different definitions. One is the time that you need to devote to an investing or trading program. The other one is what kind of time horizon are you going to use with your investing or trading? Are you days to weeks, weeks to months, months to years? We'll go through and talk about those things. I'd look at some of the different types of orders that you can use and place when you're getting in or getting out of certain positions or investments. Then I talk about paper trading and some of the tools that we have available to us. Then I go through a theoretical discussion on the power of compounding, how you can take a little bit of money, you reinvest your profits, and then you can see that grow in just a massive way over a period of time. In Module 5, I'll go through market analysis. What do we look at to help us determine what the current climate is like? Then I talk about the different sectors in the S&P 500. The S&P 500 is broken down into 11 different sectors, and keeping an eye on those can help provide insight for what is happening. Then I talk about industry groups, which further subdivides the S&P 500 sectors. Then I talk about a thing called fundamental analysis, and this might be something that a lot of you use in order to decide what you're going to invest in. Then I talk about probably the most important thing of all, and this is a new section that I've just included the last few times I've taught this course, is a thing called mental analysis. Getting out of the way of ourselves and our emotions. That's going to be the biggest hurdle that people have. Then I talk about technical analysis. Basically, that's using charts and graphs and indicators and mathematical calculations to help us uncover where we're at right now based on where we've been and where we're likely to go into the future. Then I have a thing that you can take away called the SMAC strategy. It's the simple moving average crossover strategy. That's one of the takeaways that I want you to be able to have so that you can take a strategy that you learn from this course and start to implement it. Now, some of you are going to look at this strategy and go, no, I don't think that's a very good strategy. Others, you're going to look at this and go, okay, I see what he's getting at here. I think this would be good for what I want to do. Then I talk about a thing called inter-market analysis. The stock market does not exist in a vacuum. There are other markets that have an impact. And I talk about the bond market, global markets, the commodity markets, the price of gold, the price of oil, different inflation gauges that we can watch. And we look at all of these things together to help us understand better what kind of an environment we are in. Then I break that down into more of a specific category where we look at the S&P 500 itself. And this is where a lot of you that do invest in individual stocks, you'll find this very useful too. The overall market has a great impact on individual stock prices. So if you're looking at a stock going up or down, you'll want to know what is the market overall doing. Then I look at economic analysis. What do we look at to get an idea of what is happening in the economy? Then I have a section on market observation. What are the things that I look at? I break that down and just go through those. And then at the very end, there are some books that I would recommend. It's not an exhaustive list by any means. But what I did is I went through all my library and I said, based on this course, these are the books that I would recommend. And I'll also have videos on each one of these books available to you, but they're not part of this course because you don't have to buy this book to watch the video. If you do want to buy the book and watch the video, that will be separate and in a different playlist. And kind of at the same time, there are different websites that I use. Again, not an exhaustive list, but I'm trying to give you some resources that you might find useful. So thank you very much for taking the time to watch this. This is the end of Module 1, Section 1. If you decide to continue with the course, just go on to the next video. If you want to download the notes, please feel free to do that. If you want to contact me, please feel free to do that. If you want to watch the workshop, I would highly recommend that you do that as well. So with that, I'll see you in Module 2, Section 1.